Welcome to Sankofa Studios, where we have conversations about art, art history, contemporary art, and all things around the Black American arts tradition. We dig deep into the places where art and sociology meet to explore some critical ideas as it relates to Black American identity and expression. And this won't be limited to the visual arts. We're going to go into some music and some different areas, and we'll actually do some things on the easel eventually. In the near future, I won't say eventually. Today we're going to remember the masters. We have a section called "Remember the Masters." Remembering the masters. I titled it that because the Black American artists in the Black American arts tradition don't get a lot of shine in academia. They don't get a lot of attention. Not the attention that they deserve, I think, based on the level of contribution that they gave to the world of modern and contemporary art, and that African aesthetic in the diaspora is important. If it wasn't for that African expression and that rhythm that it gives, we wouldn't have in music. There wouldn't be an American music if it weren't for that African aesthetic that Black Americans brought to the table. It wouldn't exist. And I think that in the art world, there's a similar thing. But there was a great desire to give that title in the art world of the masters to European artists. And I think there's some American-born artists that deserve some of that same type of acclaim, like Horace Pippin, who I'm going to talk about today just a little bit. Again, it's going to be very brief. If you have any questions, you can find me at sankofastudios.com. Send me a message for any questions if you want more information after I'm done. It's going to be quick. Horace Pippin. Those of you from Chicago like me, the name will stick. Horace Pippin, Pippin, was born February 22nd, 1888, and he passed on July 6, 1946, only 58 years old. Horace Pippin, as a child, lived in Pennsylvania, but he lived in Pennsylvania and he also lived in New York, where he won a contest and he won some crayons and some watercolor paints, and he would paint these images of horses and sketch these little images of horses. And it's believed that he would sketch these images because he lived at the time in Goshen, New York, where they had a very well-known racetrack. So he was exposed to horses, so he would paint these pictures of horses as a child. But his mother got sick, and by the age of 15, he had to go to work and take care of his mother. And he had, various odd jobs over the years. He worked as a porter, just cleaning, laborer. He worked in a metal refinery type place in Pennsylvania at one point. He had to get to work. Blue collar guy. Art wasn't on the radar for him as a career path at all. And then he went off to World War One. And while Horace Pippin was in World War One, while he was in World War One, he got injured terribly. His right arm was mangled by shrapnel to the extent where it was almost not usable. And in his 40s, Horace Pippin would take a paintbrush with his left hand and he would place it in his right hand, and he would guide that right arm with his left hand to paint. And he created some incredible works of art using that technique of his because of that badly damaged arm. It's phenomenal what he did and what he was able to create. He went on to have later in life to get recognized, but he was a self-taught artist. Exclusively. He taught himself to paint. And he, like I said, he's a blue collar guy. And it's a testament to all of us, from Horace Pippin, that at any age you can start and become an inspiration. Horace Pippin was a great inspiration for me as well. I heard about Horace Pippin before I really got into painting heavy. So just know that if you think, I'm too old to start or it's too late, just think about Horace Pippin and his contribution to art and where he started. He started very, very late and unschooled, and he's celebrated today, generations after he's gone. So that was just a little bit I wanted to share with you today about the great Horace Pippin. Again, if you have any questions about Horace Pippin or any other artist that I explore, you can send me an email to sankofa27@gmail.com. That's Sankofa, Sankofa, studios27@gmail.com. Or you could just go to sankofastudios.com. Send me a message, and then in the next episode, I'll answer your questions. You can also find me on Facebook, Sankofa Studios. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Sankofa_studios, Sankofa, which means to return and get it. And that's what we're doing here. We're going to go back and we're going to remember the masters, and hopefully we can find that jewel of those gems that they left behind for us, and it can motivate us forward. And with that, I close. Looking forward to the next episode, where we're going to talk about the great Lois Mailou Jones, a legend. And until then, peace.